This podcast is brought to you by Dental and Vision. When employees see the value, they buy value. That's why positioning Aflac's dental and vision plans isn't just smart, it's strategic. Start with what they need, better smiles, clearer vision, and finish with what they deserve, full protection with Aflac. Welcome back to the LA Legends, where Aflac pros sharpen strategies, sharpen their craft, build the next generation of leaders in the LA South market. My name is Michael Fisher.
And I'm Michelle Lee. Today, we're actually unpacking Insurance Broker 101, how to break into the industry, how to talk dental and vision the right way, and actually how to be a better partner with your broker as well.
And we are excited to be joined by Mr. Dustin Rich. And we hope that this ends up being a series where he teaches us how to actually talk about brokers the right way or talk to brokers the proper way. So before we dive into it, Dustin, I've known you for a long time, but can you tell us how you got into the insurance game in the least boring way possible?
Sure. So right out of college, UC Irvine, I go to our recruiting fair and there's a broker there actually. They're Barney and Barney, they're Marsh now.
Mm.
And so I hand them my resume and they recognize a place that I'd interned with as someone they partner with for referrals on the benefits side as a broker, and actually started my career on the broker side for about a year.
Nah.
Didn't figure it out at all. Was kindly asked to move into a service role or leave. And that actually chose, I said, hey, I want to be in sales. I know that's where I want to be eventually. And ended up actually cold calling managers of group carriers to see if I could be a rep on the carrier side. Uh, Ended up being a carrier rep with a company called Assurant that was then bought by Sun Life. So I spent 10 years with them doing mostly dental, vision, group life, group DI through the broker channel. I worked with Eric Swanson while I was there.
Yes.
He came over to Aflac. He's like, hey, man, I know you've heard of Aflac, but they're doing a lot with brokers and it's a really exciting place to be. I dodged him for about a year
Mm-hmm.
and then actually ended up joining right before the pandemic started. And I've been here almost 6 years in March on the broker side.
It's crazy how I remember when you started and yeah, how much time's already gone. It's nuts.
It feels, yeah, I've aged like a president since I've,
Yes.
but it's been a fun ride.
Yeah. Yeah. So really quick, because you brought up a couple things. For people that are like new-ish in the industry, they probably don't even in some of our audience, they don't even look at Aflac as a actual carrier, which is interesting. So let's take like a for somebody that's new-ish, how do brokers look at us? Let's be real, what brokers actually do? Let's start there as our first baseline question.
Yeah, what do brokers do is a question that I think has changed a lot. 15 years, Affordable Care Act changed a lot of their world. So I think a lot of brokers baseline, they're shopping benefits for plan design and rates, and they're being a consultant to a business owner about different insurance they can offer their employees on the benefit side. And I think since the Affordable Care Act, they've added some of them, the bigger ones, the more sophisticated ones have added a lot to that list, whether it's compliance and having in-house labor law attorneys or leave law attorneys, or technology consultants. They're doing all sorts of different things. They've had to evolve,
Yeah.
and they've taken a really big role in a business owner's planning beyond just shopping for plan designs out there.
Yeah, I mean, from onboarding, you brought up technology. I mean, if they enrollment platforms, everything, and it's gotten way deeper than that, obviously.
Yeah, they deal with so much more than what we just talk about, and I think that's an important thing that we have to realize. No broker, they're not all the same, but I mean, some of them are doing a lot of different things in addition to what our conversation looks like.
So let's talk about like the carrier part. So how do they look at carriers like Aflac? And we're a wild, crazy beast. So how do they look at us?
It depends on the broker. I think a lot of them see us as a partner. I think the smart broker realizes that the carrier is the one who pays them, not the client. The commission's coming from a carrier. Sometimes as a rep, as a carrier rep, you might feel like a little bit of a commodity to some brokers. Like they might see us as fairly interchangeable. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, relationship is huge. And for a rep with a broker that has that carrier title, right? Like even though you could feel like a commodity, the relationship is a big deal. And the brokers who I think I've had the most success with, they're strong relationships beyond just talking about plan designs and capabilities.
Yeah. Or just yeah, the easiest one or the one that they've always done. I'm gonna turn it to you because you're wanted to ask a lot about partnerships. So yeah,
Yeah, from your perspective, as someone that's getting in, you said relationships, what actually works, right, in making a great relationship with a broker?
Yeah. Um, Trust is huge. I think I mentioned, we're can be a smaller piece of what the broker's working on, but they need to trust us that we're not going to mess up the bigger piece that
mm,
they're working on, and that's medical insurance for all of them. Like medical insurance is their top priority. It's what pays the majority of their bills.
yeah.
So if they're going to partner with us, and how do we get in there? Trust is the big piece of that. They need to know that if they bring us into an existing relationship of theirs, that we're gonna make them look good, and it's gonna be a good experience.
I think a lot of just through my experience and seeing this happen quite a bit, is that when we're coming into a broker relationship, we're wearing just one hat of thinking things one way as we invest, why aren't you working with us? When brokers, like you said, are working on so many different facets of things, how do we actually make, like, talking to our team right today, how do we get our teams to see things differently when it comes to approaching broker to actually build that trust?
Yeah, I think, maybe just recognizing that brokers talk to a lot of our competitors,
Yeah.
and you kinda need to know the space, like, Aflac is awesome, and we have really good products. Some other carriers have good products too, and there are areas where we're gonna stand out, but you kinda need to know the landscape, and that can help build that trust with the broker too. He's like, "Hey, this person knows what they're talking about." And if you understand the broker's business, I think one way that you can get in with them even more is if you can make our capabilities and our conversation tied to what they really care about, the medical, that's gonna sit with them and maybe resonate a little more. Like, if
Yeah.
we're talking enrollment capabilities, we've all heard of core enrollment.
Mm.
Why does the broker care about core enrollment? Well, maybe we're helping the broker get participation higher on medical. Maybe we're collecting waivers on medical, so they now go to the market on medical the next year because we help them get higher participation, collect waivers, that risk on the medical side, like getting a little technical here,
Yeah.
like we just gave the broker a whole new playbook to market medical and maybe save money for an employer because carriers are like, hey, these people are waiving, the participation's higher, it's
Mhm.
less risk for us, we're gonna get more competitive. We might be saving them a lot of money. So like that's a lot of steps removed from maybe what we talk about every single day. But I think that's where we can really get a broker's interest to engage in what we're talking about. Why does supplemental health matter? Why does enrollment matter? Why does engaging at the employee level matter? Well, it might give you a whole new conversation to have with the CFO about medical planning when you go to market next year.
Yeah, that's huge. That's absolutely. And I think that you just hit on a couple of them. So one is you're actually helping them grow a little bit more revenue or a lot and help them have a different conversation. Um, Another one is just that, you know, getting participation higher in medical, that's fantastic, but even other voluntary lines, I
Mhm.
mean, sometimes it's like, "Hey, on behalf of that broker, we wanted always to be Aflac's wife, and we always want it to be Aflac's dental and vision," but, especially the higher up market we go, a lot of times it's not.
Sales School is hosted by Michelle Lee, the #1 market trainer in all of Aflac. Want to sell more insurance? Want to make more money? Want to learn how to sell the best things? Go to Sales School.
So, we do wanna make sure that we're able to give some practical takeaways because I feel like a lot of times for field facing individuals, which our entire team is, it's like, hey, learn broker. And if and in our world, we're always like, hey, if you do X, you get Y. If you're, knock on a certain number of doors, you're gonna get a certain number of no's, but you're gonna eventually get in front of a decision maker. You're gonna get say yes, and we're gonna make some money. On the broker side, it's not as cool. It's not as quite of a straight line, easy process. But what are some of those like initial, and this is the ones that I think are most important. What are some of those initial things that somebody can do that also won't hurt the big brokers? Because we have people that are paid money to work the big broker relationships and help us, but maybe on like the small mom and pop side, just to gain some experience, what are some things that they should look at?
I think the biggest one, don't walk into a meeting and just product puke on a broker. Just ask questions, right? Open-ended questions. Who are you working with? What's your take on BB? Like, where do you see it in your business? What are your goals for growth? It's a lot of the questions we're probably asking if you're a leader on the team, a new agent.
Yeah.
Um, but learn their business, get to know them as a person too, right? Like the trust thing is huge. Like they want to know that you're someone they can partner with. They know who Aflac is. Everyone's heard of
Course.
Aflac, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't have to tell them about Aflac as much. They understand the space pretty well. They might have questions here and there, and we can address the technical product stuff, but know what drives them and know who they are as a person. I think that's where you want to start with a smaller broker or anybody.
Yeah. I mean, you're saying it firsthand, which is like a lot of times we are the main character in our own movie and we are not the main character. Yeah. For them at all. So let's not pretend that it is. And then stay away from product. And then one that we were also talking about would be just around some language. What are some Aflac things in the past that, you cringe a little bit when we say Aflac words instead of what the industry uses? So
Sure.
can you give us some examples?
I mean, any Aflac acronym, and there are thousands of them, right?
Yeah.
Just don't say those outside of Aflac to a broker. I think where I've been able to kind of drive success in sales with Aflac is shielding the broker from Aflac's process. Like we can make things a little more complicated than it needs to be. It's not to like if we need certain information to set up an account, we need that. But do we need to tell the broker, hey, we're setting up your NASA? Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
exactly.
they just got confused, right? It's like, hey, we have a new account intake, right? Use English words,
It's
not
not Aflac.
it's probably a good way to do it.
What are some other I know there's with existing accounts, Aflac says re-DM. That's not a normal
I've been here 6 years. I don't think I know what that means.
it
It's
does
You don't need to know
is
it.
yeah,
is
no,
that
yeah,
okay.
but then also RE didn't mean anything, so doesn't make sense. That's
Yep.
yeah, classic.
Uh,
Any other ones that were
SIT code. Don't tell the broker you SIT coded them. That's not an industry term. That's Aflac. Indicator and block. That's not a thing in
yeah,
industry. I mean, even I think broker package or like commission codes. I think we just need to talk about how they work. And I think we should try to standardize that. If you're throwing out any acronym of commission codes in a broker conversation, I think you missed the mark on what we should be talking about.
yeah. So I think a big takeaway is don't talk about compensation unless a BSP, a broker rep, or myself or one of your district sales coordinators or regional sales coordinators are in the meeting.
I think the step is to actually do the homework of how to communicate with the broker, the verbiage they use in that industry, not what's in ours, but to actually know. And I say this because, previous guest with Chris Ashton talking about the stewardship meeting. And I was like,
Yeah.
you, you have to know their terms to actually speak to them, just like we do with any business owner today as well. So,
Absolutely.
And there are a lot of them. That might be one of the harder parts of starting if you're just getting into it and going out to work with brokers is kind of learning the terminology
mhm.
of how they speak. I think that's an area where our team can help, right? Internally with some training. I think we have some good resources that like Gina and team are doing with CVR, but you just
Another
want to
acronym, yeah.
you want to speak in there. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it too. Right?
I said BSP and I was like, oh,
DSP is not industry.
yeah, it's not an industry term.
Yeah, but we do have resources out there. I think it's one of the harder things to figure out, but it helps add credibility, helps you build trust quicker. If you can commit some of those to memory and not use the Aflac terms.
Yeah, I was recruiting a broker and recruited a broker to actually start working with Aflac on the field side. He's like, man, this library is incredible. Like he was like, he was like, this, I'm blown away that you guys have all this stuff. And I was like, you're like the one weirdo that's ever been there. In a good way, it's great that you've been
That's Derek
there.
Broker song.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't worry, he's with us now. He's like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a district now. But he's like, wow, all the broker facing stuff is pretty incredible. Like the library is amazing. And what you were saying, Michelle, is just actually doing the self learning for it.
Yep.
Like it's all there. So we got to leverage that.
Yeah, but you don't learn by osmosis, right?
Yeah.
Like you can't just read stuff and be good at broker sales. You need to go talk to brokers or do it with the BSP. But if it's a smaller broker and you're running that on your own, building that relationship, like you still have to do that part of it.
Yeah.
But you said it earlier, not forgetting that they're a human being. You got to ask the questions and not product dump on them. It is if you just do a little bit pieces of those, I think you can actually start building relationship. And how can you help them out? I think that's what we kind of lose sight of sometimes in talking to brokers is because we're trying to push our own agenda to somewhere Aflac. Like, we'll get there, but you have to actually build that relationship first.
Yeah, and they know what our agenda is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know that we want to sell Aflac coverage, right?
Yeah.
So like just get them to like you.
It's a good start.
It might help you with that, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get them to like you. At least trust. Trust is
Trust.
you said that was the number one, and I'll underline that. I absolutely believe that. So before I know that we want to spend some time on dental and vision for a minute, but just as like putting a bow on some of the broker stuff, we'll have to do a deeper dive because we have not even scratched any surface. We just like described a surface. That's all we've done.
Sounds like job security for you.
So yeah, it is. That's good. Yeah. So you'll be back. So just a couple of those. What are certain things that people can do with their existing book of business right now of like being able to like engage with some of these smaller brokers? Do you have any advice for that of like being able to, I don't know, make a broker be like, oh, thank you for actually reaching out to me. So do you have any advice for our team there?
Yeah, I mean, just don't keep them in the dark. I think surprises from Aflac are kind of if I get complaints from brokers about us from the past or maybe hesitation from them,
Mhm.
it's that we kind of were cloak and dagger in with the client and they just feel like they're not part of the process and that's scary to them. And I think it's scary to our team too, right? Like there are two
Yeah.
sides to that. But if you can bridge that gap and work with the broker, I think we move up market and we get better opportunities when you can do that. So if you have a broker with existing groups, that's the easiest way to get their attention.
Yeah.
I think you have like somewhat of a captive audience or like an audience that has some equity in connecting with you and having a relationship. Use that to your advantage.
Yeah.
That's where you can build the trust. You're already there. You're doing it. Don't go around them, right? Or
Yeah.
come to them when you need something or you got painted in a corner or maybe you haven't been in an account for 3 years and now I'm going to call the broker. Like you kind of lost the opportunity to engage if you paint yourself into a corner.
Yeah. I think a lot of times we'll look at the 10% of commission or something like that, or 30% of commission and a fight for that in that one enrollment. And we lose picture of the 150 other cases that that person represents. And if you take it very seriously and show that you are trustworthy, that you can make that broker money. I mean, I've personally from one broker gotten I embarrassed to admit it, but like hundreds of thousands of dollars because of just doing it right the first time.
Yeah, and I think I know the one you're talking about. You weren't in there, say, like arguing about splits for
No.
like that's the last thing.
Yeah.
Like you probably could have even.
I probably should have
Yeah.
done but yeah.
But what you have there is a relationship that is ironclad
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
and that's a great example.
All right. Take us down to dental and vision. I don't want to put this one in a corner. So again, we'll have to probably yeah, because
Continue it on.
yeah, this is not going anywhere. So before I turn to Michelle for some dental and vision questions, I want you to do your dental and vision speech for a second. Okay.
Because he comes from a carrier where
Yeah.
he said he's spent a lot of time in dental and vision. So
Yeah, that before Aflac, that's really I'd say 85% of what I did was dental and vision. And I did 0 VB before Aflac. So I think what I have to remember now what my 3 things were. I think you're referencing, like I said, confidence, quote, and close were my 3 steps.
Yeah,
The confidence piece is we have a great product. We have a strong solution. Stop talking about the one that went wrong because we fixed that, right? Like we have the leadership in our dental and vision team, and even like the boots on the ground when you get into service and underwriting, they're from some like very reputable carriers and
yeah,
they're impressive. Like we have a solid team and the back end system there, it works
it
great.
works.
It's
Yeah,
there.
Mhm.
So have confidence about it. Like that's what we need to tell people. We've been in the space as Aflac for 6 or 7 years now, and we bought an entity that was a proven entity before we bought it in 2019.
Mhm.
So we have credibility. Maybe people don't think of Aflac first thing for dental and vision, but we have a real solution there. So have confidence about it. The next step, quote, start showing people the plans. And you asked about like, hey, how do you work with the broker if you have existing cases? I think sometimes we wait too long. Like we wait for the date that we know open enrollment starts to reach out.
yeah,
Mhm.
And the broker's been talking since 90 days ago when the medical renewal was released. So quote dental vision on every single case, show it to a decision maker at the client or the broker, whichever one you have connectivity with. If it's the client, I think you need to tell the client, hey, we can do this. Can we talk to your broker about it? Because my understanding of the market, all the dental and vision that's out there was placed by a broker. And if we're going to take over on larger accounts, if we're going to get bigger at bats, we're going to need to work with them. And if we're going to get info about enforced plans on a plan that they're the broker of record on, we need to work with them. Like that's how that product works. Uh, so the more quoting you get, the more familiarity people will have out there. It's a lower close ratio standardly, like so that's where the close part comes in. Foul off the ones where they say, "Hey, we just changed to XYZ carrier last year. We got a rate passed. We're a rate guaranteed. We have no issues. Billing's great. Claims are paid. Our providers are in network." Like, don't go scorched earth on trying to sell that case, right? Move on.
yeah,
And the one where they're like, "Oh, they messed up our bill," or we're just not happy with the coverage, or this provider that everyone uses isn't in network. That's one where we start asking more questions and that's where you're gonna learn the product better, and where you're most likely to get a win.
it's awesome.
Yeah, so a lot of that, I think, the team right now is at least in leadership is quote every time you have an opportunity, just quote it,
Mhm.
just have them prepped because it takes one small step, 2 steps actually. One to get your rating, and then just to pull the proposal
Yep.
and come in ready. So I think we're leading in that direction because you said the close ratio is not as big, but you can't get there unless you're actually quoting enough cases to get there.
Yeah. And also, this is for the brand new folks too. When we say close ratio on dental, we're not talking on employee level. I want to just underline that too. We are talking on account level, but employer sponsored on the account level is, I mean, it's huge on this benefit. Um,
I don't
it's
think
a
we've
it's a
tapped into
industry standard. I mean, in most places, it's the industry standard. And I don't think we've tapped into that either.
I think we've written a lot of small groups with, under 10 enrolled or so, but
Yeah.
there are a lot out there that have an existing plan with an employer contribution. The
Yeah.
broker's part of that combo, and I'm here to help on those for sure, and my counterparts are too,
Yeah.
right? But, I think that's where we wanna see some more growth.
Yeah. It's an easy way. Yeah.
So let's actually talk through the value of dental vision. When you're talking to a broker that's used to, let's say, working with one carrier and getting them to look at us as that opportunity or that partnership to care more than just the cost of like looking at
Yeah.
2 plans because, apples to apples, orange to orange situation. So, how can we actually paint the picture of moving towards us as the carrier versus working with another?
Yeah, network access is big. It's a tough question because dental, I think, is more commoditized than supplemental health and VP plans. The plan designs are pretty similar amongst carriers. You'll see changes here and there on co-insurance levels or certain benefits, but for the most part, everyone can match each other. So price is big. It's the trust factor again, right? If there are 12 other carriers who have a similar plan to us and the one that's in force, who the broker and the client going to trust? So you want to have that relationship. We do have some cool features product wise, like the accident benefit. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else in the market. And it ties together things that we're doing on the VB side with dental, but really it might be a cost play because of employer paid dollars. And if there's a group that's been with one carrier for 5+ years, 10+years, and they've taken 2-3% increases here and there, they might have a pretty high rate versus what you might see in the market. So at that point, it's like, is it us or is it a competitor that they're going to move to?
Mhm.
It's kind of like your car insurance, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
if you've been with the same car insurance for 20 years, you might be getting rid like you might be time to shop.
Exactly.
And that's
Yeah.
kind of how dental vision gets looked at. So you just want to align yourself for when someone's ready to move. It might be price related. The network's big. We do have some good differentiators, but it's oftentimes a combo of all those things.
Yeah.
We
But-
won't know unless we start the conversation with them with a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot more. Awesome. So we are going to close the book on that for right now. But we definitely, I think, need to do at least. Hopefully, this ends up becoming a series where we get more and more from you because this has been awesome.
Start your week strong with the Monday morning meeting. Tune in for team accolades that celebrate success, contests that keep you motivated, and announcements that keep you ahead. Don't just start your Monday, own it with the Monday morning meeting.
So, you ready to do the rapid fire, Michelle Lee? All right, you're going to kick us off.
Okay, so I'm going to do a different one. Book or podcast everyone should check out.
Oh man. I'm a terrible reader, and I listen to so many podcasts that are hockey
Hockey. I was going to say that you have a lot of hockey.
because I just like if I'm in the car, I'm trying to just like
So-
clear my head out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might be butchering this, but I think it's called like the War of Art because I have such a short attention span, and it's just really short thoughts of how to just not get stuck in a stagnant spot.
Oh.
And it's written more for like creative type people who might be writing or creating art or whatever. It's like that maybe don't have like the alarm going off in a calendar.
Yeah.
But I think sales is art.
Yeah.
And you can't be stagnant. And being proactive is something that takes some effort sometimes and discipline. It's so easy to digest, and it's just a quick thing you can jump in and out of that I think is a good one.
War of Art.
I might
That's
be
pretty no, but that's one of the authors I love is his name's Seth Godin and
Yeah.
he's a marketing genius.
G linchpin.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
like the purple cow and stuff like that. And he describes sales as art and basically as what most of us do as art. And I think it's a really cool one.
Yeah. Yeah. So hopefully I got the title right.
Yeah. And this one actually has nothing to do with anything important. It's the best concert or event you've ever been to.
Man, I'm a music nerd. There's so many, but I think maybe just for the sentimental kind of fun side, I bought my mom tickets to that event that was called Old Cella
Yeah.
Trip,
Yeah.
and it was like just titans of classic rock. I mean, like Bob Dylan and Neil Young, Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney,
Nice.
and the whole like
What was this?
It's awesome.
it was maybe like 10 years ago.
Oh,
But it was a
but
great
that was a
show.
great concert.
Yeah, I grew up on a lot of that, and it was just cool to be able to like take my mom, and we never go to concerts together. It's probably the only one we've ever been to, but it was just a fun experience.
That's a
That's
great one.
cool.
Good answer. All right. So I think we should still do the billboard just because I think it's important. So the billboard question that we've stolen from Tim Ferriss, which is if you could have a billboard that said anything, and while our team is driving by it every single day on the 405,
Yeah.
what would it say?
Okay. So just for this team, they're the only ones on the freeway.
Yeah. Let's do or
Yeah.
Aflac. You can do Aflac.
I don't know why, but the character the wolf in Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
just took a turn, didn't it?
Yeah.
I would love to be thought of as the wolf for broker sales. Like if you're in a
That's
bind, you
awesome.
got to figure out what to do, and it's a situation you're like
Call
in
them.
over your head. Call the wolf. Maybe
That
not the most. Yeah,
I love that,
yeah.
and maybe that's
Yes,
maybe this is your Aflac alter ego.
I don't have an NSX, right? I drive
Yeah,
Corolla, but yeah, maybe one day we'll see.
you should get an NSX.
Yeah,
Yeah,
call the wolf.
the wolf.
that is awesome.
I love that.
I love that response.
Is there outside of this? We talked about not completely like asking our team not to just like call on huge brokers. Start small. Start with your existing book. Start with all of those things. Any other final asks that you have from our team?
Um, I think maybe work through your hierarchy a bit.
Mm,
That would help. I think it's been awesome. Like your team's been so great about the exposure for BSPs to field, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important because we don't want to surprise brokers about things that we're going around doing. Like we want to try to connect the dots where we can. But I am a little overwhelmed with some of the things coming through. So if we can try to bring those in the right way and filter them up the right way, I think we could be a lot more effective with it.
Yeah, I mean, so in Pulp Fiction,
Okay, you're
Samuel L. Jackson did not call the wolf. John Travolta didn't call the wolf. Ving Rhames did.
yeah.
It went through the hierarchy, and they called the wolf.
Okay.
So, in order to get to the wolf, use the hierarchy.
Use your hierarchy. Yeah.
Yeah, use your hierarchy. And then, Michelle, what's the one interesting fact about Pulp Fiction that we all got wrong?
Brains on Brett,
It's brains on. Look at the brains on Brett, not
not
brains on
brains on
Brett.
Brett.
Yeah. Okay, Michelle.
One shot.
Yeah. I'm gonna let you close this out.
Well, Dustin, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your insight about the broker industry and how to actually leverage dental and vision as well. And thank you for everyone that's been listening. If you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the LA Legends podcast and check us out on YouTube as well. Leave us a review and share it with someone who finds value in it.